Ed O'Bannon, it's great to talk to you, sir. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back.
Absolutely. And I want to visit with you a lot of different things. Certainly, we might even get your thoughts on a little March Madness. It's certainly a time of the year that a lot of us enjoy, and you've been a part of it, and you've cut down those nets before at the end of the day.
Yes, some good times. A long time ago, but my goodness, we had a blast marching through the March Madness.
What does it take to win a basketball championship when you look at is it the best team, or is it the team, obviously, that gets the hot at the right time? What does it take to cut down the nets at the end of the day, and you're the last team standing?
Well, I would like to think it's the best team. In our case, we thought we were the best team, and we were gelling right at the right time at the end of the season. I think it's really a combination of the two. Doesn't hurt, obviously. But as long as you're playing well, a lot of times you don't have to be the best team. But if you're just absolutely rolling during this time, you can go on a really good run and eventually be champion.
We're talking with Ed O'Bannon. We're going to be talking about his book as we make our way. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mark Gottfried was an assistant coach at UCLA, which is an Alabama tie back to the University of Alabama. He played here, was also a coach here for several years.
Yep. Coach Gottfried was our assistant, as well as Lorenzo Romar, Steve Lavin. Coach Gottfried, as a matter of fact, first of all, he played with Derek McKee.
Sure.
I think they were teammates. And great team, great run, great coach. That is Coach Gottfried. I think he's at Cal State Northridge now.
He did? Here recently. Just within the last couple of days. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And I want to spend a little time here, and I'd love to be able to march through some steps. Help me understand. I know that you've published the book, and it'll take people to read. There's no way that we can cover everything in 15 minutes. But what gave you the mindset? What was the motivation by going after the NCAA?
I think it was a long time coming. I think someone had to do it. And I just felt like this opportunity presented itself, and it might not come again. I feel like when Mr. Vaccaro gave me that call, he presented me with an option. Look, you can make a difference if you want, or I will find someone else. And so I just felt like I had experience dealing with the NCAA even before getting to college, on my way to UNLV initially. So was very familiar with how they did business, basically. And so I just said, you know what? Why not? Why not me? Why not now?
Ed, let me ask you, when you look at the NCAA, through your process, what would you like people to take away from your message? What your message, the platform that you talk about? You know, I feel like I know you, and this is the first time that you and I have ever talked, because I mentioned your name so much that summer going through that lawsuit and the daily updates, and we would have reporters call from the courtroom and give us updates and how it was changing the landscape. So even though I don't know you, this first time you and I ever talk, I feel like I know you. What would you like people to walk out reading your book, understanding your message and your platform? What do you want them to know about the NCAA?
What I would like people to know is that there's a power struggle here, and the NCAA has complete control over everything. And for the athletes to get from under that umbrella, or at least see some type of daylight, some type of compensation, they have to stand up for themselves. I know the repercussions are tough, and, you know, some people would have to go through it. Me personally, I chose upon myself to take some of the brunt of that. So maybe it can be easier for athletes to step up and say, hey, we deserve more. And that really, in a nutshell, is my story. And what we tried to accomplish really was to give the athletes, help them understand that they deserve better, they deserve more, as far as likeness and owning it is concerned. And, educate yourself on how the NCAA does their business, and understand that you have power as well as an athlete, and you can step up and say something and get what you want.
Well, it does. It's unique when, obviously we look here in Tuscaloosa, and you look at Alabama football. It's certainly gigantic. Avery Johnson is building our basketball program back up to where this rich tradition it was once at. But you look at Alabama. Yes, he is. And I want you to comment before we get off here about Avery Johnson here, because he sort of gave us some life. He breathed life back in this program. But going back to the NCAA, and I was reading just a couple of days ago, I think they had a profit of $1 billion, not million, $1 billion in the 2016-2017 years.
Yeah, that's incredible. And to consistently say that they can't afford to pay the athletes is mind-boggling to me. And that's, one of the things we tackle is the fact that there is money and there are ways to pay the athletes, or at least compensate them for their time. And the money is there. Yes, it's staggering, to say the least, the amount of money that is made.
Ed, what do you hear from those who are opposed to giving players access to some of this cash, whether it's a stipend or whatever you want to call it? What's the opposition say when we talk about pay for play and I was including them in all the profits that's being passed around? What do you hear from the opposition?
I think the main thing is they say athletes be happy with the scholarship. That we're giving you a scholarship, so be quiet and just play. Be happy with that. I hear that the game would be corrupt, and if the athletes were being paid, I wouldn't watch, because now they're professionals and they're not amateurs. Just, I guess, things like that are the main ones that I hear.
What did you discover about the NCAA that you didn't already know throughout your procedures, the discovery process, throughout the trial of you against the NCAA? What did you learn about them that you didn't already know?
What I learned is not necessarily about them, but about their business partners. Many of them wanted to actually pay the athletes, but the NCAA would shut it down. For example, EA Sports, they wanted to actually pay the athletes for using them in the video games, but the NCAA shut that down. So that's those things I learned, and they were surprising. I was always under the impression that the money was right away was just going to go to the NCAA or whoever, not the athletes. But I never knew that the athletes were the intended recipients in some cases.
We're talking to Ed O'Bannon. He has written an outstanding book, Court Justice, The Inside Story of My Battle Against the NCAA. Give me a little teaser inside that story. Give me something, maybe your favorite story that you shared in this book, that people will get more insight by reading it and learning more about your battle against the NCAA.
One of the cool stories, I guess, is I was growing up in my neighborhood. I had an option to go either way, bad or good. I chose good, not by my choice, actually. It was by a guy who was gangbanging, basically. He told me to continue to play basketball. We'll do our thing, you do your thing. I'll see you down the line. Eventually, he came and watched me play when I was at UCLA, and, we embraced because we hadn't seen each other in years. I thanked him for looking out for me, that sort of thing, and then he kind of just disappeared, into the crowd. So I talk about that experience among others. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey, let me share a quick story here from Jay Bilas. This is his quote about the book. Quote, Ed O'Bannon is a trailblazer in the debate over fair treatment of college athletes in the multi-billion-dollar industry of the NCAA sports. Ed's new book, Court Justice, is an amazing inside view of an All-Americans battle against the NCAA cartel. It's a fascinating read, no matter what side of the fence you find yourself on. That's Jay Bilas, ESPN, giving you that endorsement. And think about, do you ever reflect on the conversations that you've helped get started? Because of you and because of others like you that have fought against the NCAA, we now have cost of attendance. I mean, think about that gap. That gap right there got closed up, that we actually cover now in college athletes the full cost of attendance, that these players are not there's not a gap, that you guys were able to remove that and you cut that gap down now, including cost of attendance.
Well, I think that's a beautiful thing. I have to be honest. Those words from Jay Bilas are unbelievable. I really appreciate those words from him. We fought in court, and Judge Wilkin decided in our favor and gave us the cost of attendance, and I believe that was, for us, a turning point. And I think it also kind of let the NCAA know, obviously, that we're serious. I mean, they wouldn't be there otherwise, but it let them know that times need to change, and or times have changed. These rules need to change as well.
Ed, what would you like to do next? Do you have other goals that you would like to take part in sort of helping achieving this ultimate goal?
Honestly, I've really achieved my goal. I didn't see past writing a book. I saw writing this book basically was to put a period on my efforts in all of this. And my hope is to see someone else kind of, for lack of a better word, take the baton and go with it. I don't know. I just feel like I've done all that I could. And, I know my family wants me to move on. So this has been a tough one for them. And so I have a job. I have a life. I would like to see someone else take the baton and go forward.
And the book
selfishly speaking.
And the book is available, Amazon.com, Court Justice, The Inside Story of My Battle Against the NCAA. Ed, do you hear from athletes that thank you for what you did? I mean, do you hear from?
I do.
Okay. I can imagine.
I do.
Yeah, because we have athletes here that we ask them about pay for play all the time. And obviously your name comes up. But I would imagine that you do hear from quite a few of those guys.
I do, absolutely. And their words are greatly appreciated, no doubt about it.
Well, it takes someone with a lot of courage to go after the NCAA. We've watched it here. We've watched the control that they have. The Court Justice, The Inside Story of My Battle Against the NCAA, Ed O'Bannon. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of your popular websites. You can find it here locally. But, hey, Ed, I want to spend just a couple of seconds here talking a little Alabama basketball. What do you see in Avery Johnson? Certainly a high-energy guy.
High-energy guy, basketball lifer. Born leader. I imagine he's a lot of fun to play with or play for. I know I played against him back in the day, and I love his energy. Like you said, he's entertaining to a fan for sure, but he looks like he gets his message across to his athletes, and he's doing a wonderful job, a great job for sure.
Hey, we're just happy to be a part of the conversation. He's got us believing and buckled up, as he likes to say. But let me ask you, who is at the end of your bracket? What was your pick?
Well, I'm pretty much.
You're done.
I'm pretty much
your
done.
Bracket's out. Okay.
My bracket ended last night with Arizona. I really watching them in person. I knew that they would go deep in the tournament, but boy was I wrong. I like Villanova.
That's our opponent tomorrow.
That's
our opponent tomorrow. So we're trying to find a way to beat Villanova today.
Oh, there you go. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to go for Alabama.
Okay.
Hey, my bracket is done anyway, so I got Crimson Tide.
Hey,
here we go.
Hey, just from your perspective, final question, I promise. Any thoughts on Collin Sexton and what what you see in this young man here at the University of Alabama?
A heck of a basketball player. He's going to be huge. He had a huge tournament, conference tournament a heck of a freshman season campaign. A lot of fun to watch. I am a fan. He's fun to watch. Boy, what a talent he is, that's for sure.
No doubt. Well, Ed, thank you again for being a part of our show. I'll continue to talk about the book, Court Justice, The Inside Story of My Battle Against the NCAA. And just, a tip of the cap to you. It takes a lot to fight those guys in Indiana, and we appreciate what you did in the service of many that will walk behind you that will benefit from you going after the NCAA. Ed, thank you again for spending some time with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure for sure. Thank you very much for having me on your show.